You ever look at your life and think, this is it, I made it, only to realize it's all a damn lie? That was me, Olivia, 25 years deep into a marriage I thought was straight out of a rom-com. Picture this: a cozy house in the suburbs, 2 kids, Ethan Jr. and Ava running around, and a husband, Liam, who's out there building our future in his fancy IT job. I'd wake up every morning, make coffee, pack lunches, and think, yeah, this is the dream. Ha, what a joke. I was living in a bubble, and that bubble was about to pop so hard it'd make your head spin. Let me paint the scene for you. Our house was like something off a Pinterest board. White picket fence, flowers in the front yard, and a kitchen that always smelled like fresh bread or whatever I was baking to keep the kids happy. Ethan Jr., my little man, was 16, obsessed with basketball, always dribbling in the driveway. Ava, my baby girl, was 14, forever glued to her phone, snapping selfies or whining about her hair. And me? I was the glue holding it all together. The mom, the chef, the chauffeur, the therapist, you name it. I'd given up everything for this life. Everything, and for what? To get played like a fool. See, back in the day, I wasn't just some housewife. I had a career, okay? I was a badass office manager, running a team, juggling deadlines, and loving every second of it. I was good too. People respected me. But then Liam came along with his sweet talk. Babe, you don't need to work. Let me take care of you. Stay home, raise the kids, be the heart of our family. Sounds romantic, right? Yeah, I fell for it. Hook, line, and sinker. I quit my job, packed away my power suits, and traded them for yoga pants and a never-ending to-do list. Ha! If I could go back, I'd slap myself silly. Olivia, you idiot, don't do it. But nope, I drank the Kool-Aid and thought I was living the perfect life. Liam was the golden boy, or so I thought. He'd leave for work in his crisp button-downs, kissing me on the forehead before heading out to slay dragons in the tech world. I'm doing this for us, he'd say, flashing that charming smile. And I believed him. Why wouldn't I? He was my partner, my teammate. Meanwhile, I was knee-deep in diapers, then school projects, then teenage drama, all while keeping the house spotless and dinner on the table. You ever try cooking a full meal while breaking up a sibling fight and answering work emails for your husband? It's a circus, and I was the damn ringmaster. But here's the thing. Being the perfect wife is lonely as hell. You're stuck in this routine, day in, day out, while your husband's out there living his best life. Liam would come home late, always with an excuse. Meetings ran over, he'd say. Or, client dinner, babe, you know how it is. I'd nod, smile, and keep my mouth shut because that's what good wives do, right? But deep down, I felt it. This tiny, nagging ache. Like a splinter you can't see but know it's there. I'd lie in bed at night, staring at the ceiling, wondering why I felt so empty. You ever feel that? Like you're giving everything, but it's never enough? I tried to shake it off. I'd tell myself, Olivia, you're overthinking it. You've got a great life. Stop complaining. I'd throw myself into being supermom, baking cookies for Ava's bake sale, cheering at Ethan Jr.'s games, even helping Liam with his work stuff when he needed me to proofread emails or organize his schedule. I was all in, 100%. I thought we were a team, you know? Like we're building this life together. Ha! What a load of crap. While I was playing my part, Liam was out there rewriting the script, and I didn't even know it. Looking back, I should have seen the signs. The way he'd get annoyed when I asked about his day, the way he'd brush off my attempts to plan date nights. I'm tired, Olivia, he'd snap, like I was some nag he had to deal with. But I didn't want to believe it. I kept telling myself, he's just stressed. He loves you. You're fine. God, I was so naive. I'd look at our family photos on the mantle, us smiling at the beach, at Christmas, at Ava's first dance recital, and think, this is real. This is us. But it wasn't. It was a lie, and I was about to find out just how deep that lie went. You know what's funny? I used to think loneliness was just part of being a mom. Like, it's normal to feel invisible sometimes, right? You're so busy taking care of everyone else, you forget who you are. But that loneliness, it was eating me alive. And the worst part, I didn't even realize how bad it was until everything came crashing down. So I was so busy trying to keep the fairy tale alive, I didn't see the storm brewing. But trust me, when that storm hit, it didn't just rain, it poured, and I was about to get soaked. It was about, so there I was, Olivia, the woman who thought she had it all, the husband, the kids, the picture perfect life. But you know what they say about things that look too good to be true? Yeah, they usually are. And I was about to learn that lesson the hard way. You ready to hear how it all fell apart? Buckle up because it's a wild ride and I'm not holding back. You ever get that gut feeling something's off, but you're too scared to dig because you know it'll ruin everything? That was me, Olivia, standing in my perfect little kitchen, stirring pasta sauce while my world started crumbling. I'd spent 25 years building this life with Liam, raising Ethan Jr. and Ava, thinking we were unbreakable. But lately, something was rotten, and it wasn't just the leftovers in the fridge. The signs were there, creeping up like shadows, and I was too damn blind, or maybe too stubborn to see them. You ready for this? Because it's about to get messy. It started small. Liam was always busy, but now he was busy, like disappearing for hours, phone glued to his hand busy. He'd come home late, tie loosened, eyes darting like he was hiding something. "Work's insane, babe," he'd say, barely looking at me. Insane. Yeah, right. I'd ask about his day and he'd snap, "You wouldn't get it, Olivia. I'm busting my ass for this family." Ouch. You ever have someone make you feel small like that? Like you're just a nuisance in their big, important life? That was Liam, and I was starting to feel like a ghost in my own house. Then there were the red flags. Bright, neon, screaming red flags. Liam, the guy who'd worn the same faded polos for years, suddenly turned into Mr. GQ. New suits, fancy cologne that smelled like money, hair gel for days. I'm talking full-on midlife crisis makeover. I caught him checking himself out in the mirror once, smirking like he was auditioning for a damn movie. "What's with the glow-up?" I asked, half joking. He shrugged. "Gotta look sharp for clients." Clients, my ass. You don't buy $200 cologne for some tech bro in a boardroom? But me? I was so naive, I thought. Maybe he's trying to spice things up for us. Ha! God, I was such an idiot. I tried to play along, you know? I thought, okay, Olivia, step up your game. I started cooking fancier dinners. Steak, risotto, the works. I even bought some lacy lingerie thinking I could bring back the spark. Picture me, 40-something, trying to feel sexy while folding laundry and yelling at Ava to do her homework. Ridiculous, right? I'd strut out in that lingerie, and Liam would barely glance up from his phone. "Not tonight, babe," he'd mutter, eyes locked on the screen. You know how humiliating that feels? Like you're invisible. Like you're not even worth a second look. I'd crawl into bed, staring at the ceiling, thinking, what the hell happened to us? The phone was the real giveaway, though. Liam used to leave it lying around, no big deal. Now, it was like his lifeline. Always in his pocket, always face down, always locked. One night, I saw him typing furiously, smiling at the screen like a lovesick teenager. "Who's that?" I asked, casual as I could manage. He flinched, actually flinched, and stuffed the phone in his pocket. "Just work," he said, voice tight. "Work? At 11 p.m.? Yeah, okay, buddy." My stomach twisted, but I didn't push, not yet. You ever feel that dread like you're standing on the edge of a cliff? That was me, teetering, too scared to look down. I tried to brush it off. I told myself he's stressed, that's all. But the doubts kept piling up. He'd vanish for work trips with no details, come back smelling like that damn cologne. He'd get calls and step outside, whispering like I wasn't supposed to hear, and me? I was losing it. I'd lie awake, heart pounding, wondering if I was paranoid or if my whole life was a lie. You know what's worse? I started blaming myself. Maybe I'm not fun anymore. Maybe I'm too boring, too mommish. I'd look in the mirror, see the lines on my face, the stretch marks from 2 kids, and think, no wonder he's checked out. But then came the night that broke me. It was late, kids asleep. House quiet except for the hum of the fridge. Liam was in the shower and his phone was on the counter, just sitting there like it was daring me. I'd never snooped before, never thought I'd be that wife. But something snapped. My hands were shaking as I grabbed it. His passcode? Our anniversary. How ironic is that? I opened his messages and there it was, staring me in the face. A thread with Sophia. Heart emojis, flirty texts, plans to meet up. Miss you, babe, he wrote. Can't wait for tonight. My heart stopped. I scrolled up and it wasn't just one text. It was months. Months of lies. A whole year of him living a double life while I was playing perfect wife. I dropped the phone like it burned me. My knees gave out and I slid to the floor right there in the kitchen. I couldn't breathe. You ever feel like your heart's being ripped out? Like someone took everything you built and set it on fire? That was me, sobbing like a fool, surrounded by dirty dishes and a half-eaten lasagna. 25 years, 2 kids, my whole damn life, gone. I kept thinking, Olivia, what did you do to deserve this? I'd given him everything, and he traded me for some side piece named Sophia. A year. A whole year of lies, and I was too busy folding his damn socks to notice. I sat there, tears streaming, until I heard the shower stop. I wiped my face, stood up, and put the phone back. I wasn't ready to confront him, not yet. But something shifted in me that night. The blinders were off, and I saw it all, the late nights, the cologne, the locked phone. My perfect life? It was a sham. And Liam? He wasn't my partner, he was a stranger. You think that's the worst part? Oh, honey, it gets uglier. Stick with me, because this betrayal, it's just the beginning. You ever have a moment where your whole world just explodes? Like 1 second you're holding it together, and the next, you're standing in the rubble of everything you thought was real? That was me, Olivia, right there in my living room, staring at Liam, the man I'd loved for 25 years, as he ripped my heart out and stomped on it. I'd seen the text with Sophia, knew he was a lying cheat, but nothing could have prepared me for what came next. You think you're ready for this? Grab a seat, because this one's gonna hurt. After I found those messages, I didn't sleep. How could I? My head was spinning, replaying every I love you, every late night, every time I'd smiled and played the good wife while he was out with her. I wanted to scream, to throw his phone at the wall, but I held it in. I needed answers. So I waited. The next evening, Liam waltzed in, all smug, reeking of that damn cologne. He tossed his keys on the counter like nothing was wrong, and I swear I saw red. We need to talk, I said, my voice low, steady, even though my heart was pounding so hard I thought it had burst. He raised an eyebrow, all cocky. What's up, babe? Babe! Babe! The nerve of this man. I held up his phone, unlocked thanks to our anniversary code, and watched his face go pale. Who's Sophia? I asked, shoving the screen in his face. The texts were right there, undeniable. You know what he did? He didn't even flinch, just leaned back, crossed his arms, and said, You went through my phone? Real classy, Olivia. Classy? Oh, hell no. Don't you dare turn this on me, I snapped. You've been screwing around for a year. Explain that, you coward. And then it came, the gut punch. He didn't deny it, not a single word of regret. Instead, he looked me dead in the eyes and said, You're not exactly a catch anymore, Olivia. You're boring, a burden. Sophia gets me. She's exciting, ambitious. You? You're just here. I froze. You ever feel like someone's punched you so hard you can't breathe? That was me standing there, my whole life crumbling as he tore me apart. A burden? I whispered. I gave up everything for you. My job, my dreams, 25 years of my life. He just shrugged, like I was nothing. But he wasn't done. You dragged me down, he said, voice cold. Sophia's different. She's building a future with me. Future? What about our future, the one I'd slaved away for, raising our kids, keeping our home together? I laughed, a bitter, broken sound. Oh, she's building a future, huh? With what? The vacations you paid for while I was budgeting for Ava's braces? That hit a nerve. His jaw tightened, but he didn't answer. Instead, he grabbed his jacket and walked out, leaving me standing there, shaking, with tears burning my eyes. You think that's the worst part? Nope. It gets uglier. See, Liam didn't just betray me, he turned my own kids against me. Ethan Jr. and Ava, my heart and soul. The kids I'd rocked to sleep, bandaged knees for, cried with through heartbreaks. They looked at me like I was the enemy. Liam had been working them over, filling their heads with lies. He painted me as the villain, the nagging wife who pushed him away. And Sophia? She swooped in like some fairy godmother, showering them with gifts. Designer sneakers for Ethan, a fancy phone for Ava, even trips to amusement parks. My kids ate it up. One night, I tried to talk to them. "Guys, your dad's not who you think," I said, voice cracking. Ava rolled her eyes, actually rolled her eyes at me. "Mom, stop being dramatic," she said. "Dad's happy now. You're just jealous." Jealous? I was fighting to keep our family together. Then Ethan Jr. chimed in, his voice hard. "You never cared about Dad's dreams. You just sat at home doing nothing." Nothing. I'd given up my career, my identity for them. But the worst came from Ava. She looked me dead in the eyes and said, "You don't deserve Dad." You know what it's like to have your own kid stab you in the heart? I couldn't speak. I just stood there, tears falling as they walked away. I was alone. Completely, utterly alone. My husband was gone, my kids hated me, and the life I'd built for 25 years was ashes. I'd sit in the dark, clutching a glass of wine, staring at old family photos, us at the zoo, at Christmas, laughing like we were untouchable. Now, I had nothing. Just me, my broken heart, and a house that felt like a tomb. Sophia, that homewrecker, had it all: my husband, my kids, my life. She'd waltz in with her perfect hair and expensive bags, while I was left with dirty laundry and a sink full of dishes. Ha! Life's got a sick sense of humor, doesn't it? I kept thinking, Olivia, how did you get here? I'd sacrificed everything, and for what? A man who called me a burden? Kids who thought I was worthless? I'd lie awake, replaying every moment, wondering if I could have done something different. But you know what? Even in that darkness, something sparked. A tiny, stubborn piece of me that refused to give up. I was down, but I wasn't out. You hear me? I was gonna fight back. You want to know how I clawed my way out of this hell? Stick around because this story's far from over. You ever hit rock bottom so hard you think there's no way up? Like you're lying there, bruised and broken, with nothing but your own heartbeat to remind you you're still alive? That was me, Olivia, after Liam's betrayal and my own kids turning their backs. My life was a wreck. Husband gone, kids brainwashed, 25 years of sacrifice down the drain. But you know what? I wasn't going to stay down. I was done crying over a man who didn't deserve me. This is the part where I clawed my way back, and let me tell you, it wasn't pretty, but it was mine. You ready to see how I rebuilt? Let's go. I was 40-something, jobless, with a resume that screamed professional mom. My savings? Barely enough to cover groceries. But I wasn't about to let that stop me. I decided to go back to work. Something, anything, to get my life back. I dusted off my old office manager skills and started applying for jobs. You ever tried jumping back into the workforce after 15 years of changing diapers and packing lunches? It's like showing up to a race with no shoes. I was out of touch, fumbling with new software, tripping over buzzwords like synergy and agile. Ha! I felt like a dinosaur in a room full of tech bros. My first interview? A disaster. Picture me in a thrift store blazer and sweating through my shirt trying to explain why I hadn't worked since the early 2000s. The guy across the desk, barely 30, looked at me like I was his mom crashing his startup. "Why should we hire you?" he asked, smirking. I wanted to scream, "Because I've kept a family alive for 2 decades, you punk." But I just smiled, said some nonsense about adaptability, and left. You know how it feels to walk out of a room knowing you bombed? Yeah, I cried in my car right there in the parking lot. But I didn't quit. I kept applying, kept showing up because I had to. For me, finally, I landed a gig. Entry level, answering phones at a small logistics company. The pay was a joke. The work was mind numbing, but it was a start. I'd sit at my desk surrounded by kids half my age, feeling like a fish out of water. My hands, once soft from folding laundry, were now calloused from typing and hauling boxes. You ever feel like you're starting over from zero? That was me, learning to swim in a world that had moved on without me. But every paycheck, no matter how small, felt like a middle finger to Liam. Look at me, you jerk. I'm still here. Then came Daniel. Oh, Daniel. My coworker. My lifeline. He was this scruffy guy in his 30s, always cracking bad jokes and sneaking me coffee when I looked ready to collapse. Unlike everyone else, he didn't see me as the old mom. He saw me. One day, I was messing up a spreadsheet, cursing under my breath, and he leaned over, grinning. Olivia, you're tougher than you think. You've got this. Tough? Me? I laughed it off, but his words stuck. For the first time in forever, I felt like I wasn't invisible. You ever meet someone who makes you believe in yourself again? That was Daniel. We started talking more, lunch breaks, after-work beers, swapping stories. He'd lost his mom young, bounced around dead-end jobs, but never gave up. Life kicks you, he said, but you kick back harder. I started to believe it. With Daniel's nudge, I took a leap. Night classes to update my skills, learning stuff like project management and coding. Me, coding. Can you imagine? I'd sit up late, kids asleep, hunched over a laptop, swearing at error messages. But every success message felt like a win, like I was rebuilding Olivia piece by piece. Then, the big move. Daniel and I started a side hustle, a tiny consulting firm helping small businesses streamline their ops. We worked out of a cramped office. Think folding chairs, a secondhand desk, and a coffee maker that barely worked. We'd pull all-nighters, fueled by pizza and sheer stubbornness. You ever pour your soul into something, knowing it might fail? That was us. But it didn't fail. We landed clients, grew the business, and suddenly, I wasn't just a mom or a betrayed wife. I was a boss. Ha! Liam used to say I should know my place. Well, my place was running a company, and I was damn good at it. And then there was Grace, my daughter, born a year after the divorce, from a brief relationship that didn't last but gave me the greatest gift. Grace, with her big eyes and fearless laugh, was my light. She reminded me why I kept going. I'd look at her, sleeping in her crib, and think, I'm doing this for you, kid. For us. You know what's wild? Liam's out there, broke and alone after Sophia dumped him. Yep. She took his money and ran. Me? I've got a business, a kid who's my world, and a fire in my gut that won't quit. Funny how life works, huh? I won't lie, it wasn't easy. There were days I wanted to give up. Days I felt like a fraud. Days I missed Ethan Jr. and Ava so bad it hurt. But I kept pushing. I wasn't just surviving. I was rebuilding. You hear me? I was done being Liam's doormat. I was Olivia, and I was taking my life back. Want to know how it all wraps up? How I faced my kids and Liam one last time? Stick with me, because the best is yet to come. You ever stand at the edge of your life, looking back at the mess, and realize you're not just surviving, you're winning? That's me, Olivia. After the storm of Liam's betrayal, my kids' rejection, and years of clawing my way back from nothing, I'd built a new life, my business, my daughter Grace, my self-respect, but there was still a piece of the puzzle missing. Closure. You know, that moment where you tie up the loose ends and walk away free? This is that moment, and let me tell you, it's as raw and real as it gets. Ready for the end of my story? Here we go. It was a rainy afternoon, the kind where the sky's crying, but you're cozy inside. I was at home, sipping coffee, watching Grace scribble on a coloring book, her little tongue sticking out in concentration. My business was thriving. Daniel and I were killing it, and I finally felt like I could breathe. Then the doorbell rang. I opened it, and there they were, Ethan Jr. and Ava, standing on my porch, soaking wet, eyes red like they'd been crying for days. My heart stopped. You ever see your kids after years apart and feel like time's playing tricks on you? They weren't my babies anymore. Ethan Jr. was taller, Ava's face sharper, but they were mine. Mom, Ava whispered, voice breaking. We're sorry. Ethan Jr. nodded, his hands stuffed in his pockets, looking like a kid caught stealing cookies. We were wrong. About Dad, about you. I stood there, frozen, as they spilled it all. How Liam's lies unraveled. How Sophia ditched him. How they realized I'd been the one holding the family together. Ava's voice cracked when she said, We believed him, Mom. We hurt you. You know what it's like to hear your kids own up like that? It's relief and pain all at once, like a wound healing, but still tender. I pulled them into a hug, rain and all, and held them tight. But I didn't let it slide completely. I forgive you, I said, pulling back to look at them. But trust, that's going to take time. You don't get to walk back in like nothing happened. They nodded, tears falling, and I knew they got it. We spent the day talking, really talking, for the first time in years. Ethan Jr. told me about college. Ava showed me her art. Sketches that reminded me of me at her age. It wasn't perfect, but it was a start. You ever feel like you're getting a piece of your heart back? That was me right there with my kids. Then came Liam. Oh, you knew he'd crawl back, didn't you? A few months later, I was locking up the office when I saw him, standing by my car, looking like a kicked dog. Gray hair, wrinkled shirt, eyes hollow. No more cologne, no more swagger. Just a man who'd lost everything. Olivia, he said, voice shaky. I messed up. I want to come home. Home? Ha, the audacity. I laughed loud right in his face. Home? I said. You burned that home to the ground, Liam. You called me a burden, remember? Now you're begging for a second chance? He flinched, mumbling about Sophia leaving, his job tanking. Poor baby. You know what's funny? The man who'd crushed me was now a nobody, and I was standing tall. I stepped closer, voice steady. You made your choice. Live with it. I've got my life. Daniel, Grace, the kids, my business. There's no room for you. He opened his mouth, but I cut him off. Go. And he did, shuffling away like a ghost. You ever feel power like that? Not revenge, but freedom. I didn't hate him anymore. I just didn't care. He was nothing to me, and that was the sweetest victory. Now here's where I am. I'm Olivia, 40-something, a mom, a boss, a woman who's been to hell and back. My days are full, running the business with Daniel, who's more than a partner now, if you catch my drift. Grace is my sunshine, toddling around, making me laugh when I'm stressed. Ethan Jr. and Ava are finding their way back to me, one coffee date, one phone call at a time. We're not perfect, but we're real. You know what I learned? Life can break you, but it can't keep you down unless you let it. I used to think I'd lost everything, my marriage, my kids, my identity, but I didn't. I found me. The Olivia who'd been buried under dishes and diapers, the one who could run a company, raise a kid, and still have room to dream. I walk into my office every day, see my name on the door, and think, I did this. Liam, he's a footnote. Sophia, a bad memory, my kids. They're learning what love really looks like, and me, I'm unstoppable. So here's my advice to you. Life's gonna kick you, hard. It'll take your heart, your pride, everything you thought was yours. But don't you dare give up. You fight, you rebuild, you find your light, even if it's just a flicker. I did it, and I'm nobody special, just a woman who refused to stay broken. You feeling me? Whatever you're facing, you've got this. You're stronger than you know, and the world better watch out because you're coming for it. I'm Olivia, and this is my win. What's yours gonna be? Gonna